Hello and welcome to the Big Bang Theory podcast. My name's John. I'm here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Hello.
Friends, hello and welcome to the Big Bang Theory podcast. We're here after City are held to a 1-1 draw away at Crewe at Gresty Road.
Is that the
That's
name
the name of the ground.
No, I like that. It's
Yeah.
a good old-fashioned name.
It is a good old-fashioned name. At half-time, they don't have a rest, they have a grest.
No, they don't.
They should. So 1-1.
Yeah, it's one of those ones, isn't it, where on paper you think, yeah, good result. First against second, away from home. But the manner of the draw...
The drawbridge.
the drawbridge was, yeah...
Up came the drawbridge.
It's a bit disappointing, wasn't it?
Well, we went up 1-0 Moxie goal very early on, and then we had absolute hatful of chances, but yet somehow we came away with only 1 point, and worse was to follow, which we'll talk about more in a minute. So it was a good goal though. Collins cross into the box.
Was it Collins? Was it Collins? Was it not Sweeney? It looked like a sort of Sweeney position.
I think it was Collins coming in.
Oh
from
right,
right
no,
back.
maybe it was because there was an identical chance, wasn't there? That Tom Parks.
That's right.
Couldn't put away a bit later.
So a swing to the back post. Moxie was unmarked.
It's actually a really good quick corner from Williams.
Yeah.
Just sort of spotted him in space, Collins, if it was you, and yeah.
Very nice.
Very
1-0
well.
up.
But yeah, and he looked really dangerous again. I thought Williams for most of the first half, and he actually creates so many chances. I saw a list and he's right up there.
List of chances throughout the leagues, you mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Chances created, and he's in the top 10 or 12 of them.
Get on, Randy.
I think this was before this weekend, but I'm sure it'll still be in there. So, yeah, but that's not the problem, is it? No one's saying we're not creating chances, just not putting them away. And
yeah, so
Matt
Bowman
Taylor was livid.
Yeah, he was livid, wasn't he? Bowman had an absolute hatful of chances.
Yeah,
Parks
it
had
kind
one,
of
like
felt like it was mainly directed at Ryan Bowman, maybe because he had so many.
Yeah,
but he really should have done better on at least a couple of those.
Yeah, it's not like. Yeah, I can't see why he's not really. So, I mean, some of them weren't even testing the keeper. Some of them were, but they were kind of straight at him.
Yeah, it's the one that comes to on his chest and he turns and blasts it over the bar from just outside the 6-yard box, isn't it? But
yeah, Jaskalainen was untroubled by loads of it, actually, even though there was loads of stuff going on in his 6-yard box.
Yeah.
So, a bit disappointed, and yeah, like you say, Taylor was livid. I mean, the one thing you can say, the other way round, is that Crewe's shooting, particularly in the first half, was absolutely shocking.
Yeah, it was bad.
I mean, really bad.
Yeah, and then in the second half, obviously they got a bit better. Ward made a couple of good saves. And then they equalised 70-something minutes.
Late 70s, wasn't it?
Yeah, by which time I think it'd been coming, hadn't it, by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
And
we still had more chances, but we just didn't do anything with it.
It was pretty bad defending as well. It was sort of comedy.
Pinged around, didn't it?
It looked like Moxie, obviously, got the goal, which is great, but, that's part of the reason you're there, but the main reason is to defend.
I mean, I guess...
And he went for one of those Aaron Martin-style 3 inches off the ground headers when he could have just hoofed it.
And it seemed to have some sort of pinball effect of ball to chin to floor.
And then just straight into the path of...
Matey.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, I don't know. I know that when you play 3-5-2 or some version of that, 3 centre-backs, I know that in theory all 3 should be able to do the role of the centre-back, but it's not really like that, of course, and we've relied on either Parks or Aaron Martin to be the central centre-back, the one who kind of dominates, takes the stuff in the air, controls, and when they're there, when it lands to them, you think, no worries at all. Moxie's just had a few absolute goofers.
Yeah, it's a bit like it was last season, wasn't it? He went through a spell of making some big errors like that. I don't know what it is, a confidence thing. You kind of go through.
I mean, I guess maybe his natural inclination isn't towards that position. So the things you do in other places, you don't do there, and vice versa.
Well, of course, he's not a natural centre back, is he? So no. I suppose that's what it is. But I mean, don't try and header it when it's basically on the floor when you can just boot it. That really doesn't make any sense.
disappointing because to be 1-0 up against that team, putting ourselves top of the league firmly with that, what would have been the potential result would have been big old do, wouldn't it? Big old deal.
Yeah.
And with 10 or so minutes left to throw that away, very disappointing.
Yeah.
And then of course it got worse.
So we're also knocked off the top spot. Now,
Knocked off the top
Green,
spot. Forest Green at top. We're second. We play Forest Green on Saturday.
Yeah.
More of that later. But of course the big old story was Lewis Ward come away for the game with a broken arm.
Yeah, that's a bad one, isn't it?
Now, I've always sung his praises, as you know, but he's basically overtaken. We often speak of Bert Trautmann and his triumph.
Well, I was thinking about this because when in the game did it happen? Was it when the goal went in?
No, it was about 10 minutes later, 86th minute, and he played on.
Yeah.
Played on 10 minutes with a broken arm. Hats off, Lewis.
Yeah, it's not quite.
It's not a whole
is it?
half with a broken neck. That's true, but you can only deal the hand that you've been dealt.
Yeah.
And, he's not going back to ask for a broken neck, is he?
No.
So Lewis Ward, I mean, that's real shame. I mean, I don't know. It's a broken ulnar, Dan.
Ulnar, which one's that again?
Elbow to little finger.
Okay, so the sort of outside one.
Outside one.
Other one being the ulnar and the
Radial?
radius.
Radius?
Is it?
I don't know. Biology GCSE was a long time ago.
That's the same one I broke
the ulnar.
when I was younger, yeah. But it's more sort of wrist area, so same bone.
Yeah, I don't know where on the arm he broke it.
Yeah, see, what you're looking at, probably 6 weeks, if my own experience anything to go by, 6 weeks in the cast.
They said it was cracked,
Depending how
didn't they,
bad
rather
it is.
than
Well, that's the thing. Mine was completely broken all the way through.
clean through.
Clean through. So
What did you do? I don't mean what did you do afterwards. How did you do it?
The skateboarding.
Of course.
I was 13 at the time, so
yeah, so Ward, a cracked ulnar, but he's not going to be playing for a month, is he?
Oh, at least. Yeah.
So, step up Johnny Maxted.
Yeah. And so he'd been playing a bit, hasn't he? Not in the first team, but in every other kind of variation.
Yeah.
The under-23s and whatever side goes out for these kind of other...
The Internet Cup.
Internet Cup, yeah. So he'd been playing in them.
He's looked good.
Yeah.
Or rather, hasn't looked bad.
No one's been... There's been nothing... There's been no issues raised, has there?
No.
Obviously not facing toughest of competition in those kind of situations. But... Well, he's the only other keeper, so that we don't have much choice really. That he's in there, and I know it's a bit more kind of because he's an unknown quantity, but I'm a lot more optimistic, let's say.
Well,
than
absolutely.
I would have been last year when Hammers had to step in. As much as he seemed like a cheeky chappy, I was never that confident when he was in goal, old James.
Can you remind me, Maxted, did he come from Morecambe or Accrington Stanley? Or somewhere else?
I don't know.
No, I don't know either. But he played, so you're right to say that he played just last week in the under-23s Cup against Villa.
Yeah.
Which City won 3-0.
Yeah.
I mean,
I really wanted to go to that. I've been a bit ill. I wasn't feeling quite up to it.
I was given a match report by my friend Big John.
Right.
No relation. And he said this, if you're interested.
Of course.
Not shabby at all. At one point, 2 weary Brummies sat behind us and said, which is always an excuse for an accent, well, this is just men against boys. To be fair, City were feeding 4 or 5 first-teamers, so they were kind of right.
Right.
Men against boys.
I don't think you're getting that part in Peaky Blinders anytime soon.
I should be.
Even though their Brummie accents are terrible.
Terrible.
Am I going to get a part on the Peaky Blinders? My Brummie accent's quite good.
Oh, that is quite good.
Not bad at all.
I can't differentiate between Aston and Birmingham and Wolverhampton, I've got to say.
Yeah, that's what happens. That's where the problems begin on these sort of regional TV programmes. Locals get very angry because you haven't got the the specific locale.
Indeed. Like
Same
us.
with, what was that murder thing called?
Murder, She Wrote.
No, that's set around here with Doctor Who in it.
Oh, that thing.
Broadchurch.
Broadchurch.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't watch it. Were their Devon accents no good?
Well, I think they were all over the place. I think they were more kind of Cornish or they were more Bristol, but not many There's
tough.
one really good bit. It's Olivia Colman, who's a brilliant actress.
Yeah.
And at one point, had to go into school because her kid's been called into the headmaster's office. Anyway, turns out he's been looking at dirty pictures on his phone in school. Okay. And she looks at him and goes, "Porn? Why?"
Excellent.
Which and actually, that's the only good thing about that too.
That's the whole thing.
Terrible,
3 series for that.
ITV, BBC drama, whatever it is. It's awful. Don't watch it.
Okay.
Almost as bad as Peaky Blinders. Don't watch that either. Crap.
Well, we've turned into some sort of TV review podcast.
Yeah, we have a bit. Sorry, where were we? Johnny Maxted.
Johnny Maxted in goal. So you're right. He's been playing, not every week, but fortnightly kind of thing. So we'll just see how he gets on. But, I mean, you're absolutely right. Taylor knew, didn't he, and said straight away, I just want to have 2 keepers who are both competing for the shirt.
Yeah, and we didn't quite know who was going to be the number 1 when he came in, did they? So,
and
that's because we didn't know much about either player.
No, but I think you're right. I think Taylor got 2 of kind of the same kind of standard and kind of let them work it out themselves. So hopefully it's his opportunity to... I mean, if he's Lewis Ward Mark II, then that's an absolute dream, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you're right, Pim's understudy, Hammond, was not up to it, really.
Yeah, we just want him to be up to the job, don't we,
Yeah.
And I think it's good that his first game's a home game, and hopefully everyone will get behind him.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, we'll literally be behind him for one of the halves. So, yeah.
Yeah, so
here's hoping that it works out okay for Johnny.
Yeah. The other big news story of the weekend, of course, was in the 89th minute, our friend Nigel Atangana got his first...
Was it that late that he came on?
Yeah.
Right. He did play half that under-23s game the other day, though.
He did.
I put out a little tweet asking how he got on. I was really interested to know whether... I know only 500 people went, and we don't have a particularly big Twitter following, but I wanted to know about how Nigel got on and how Noah Smurden got on, because of course he played the second half in place of Nigel Atangana, and no responses.
No response.
No, so I've no idea.
I should have asked Big John.
I'm just going to assume, both of them did well because, we won.
Those 2 Brummies said, "Oh, they've done quite well. Nigel's done quite well."
You're getting there.
Anyway, that's the other big news. So presumably he's going to be on the bench again Saturday. Might well see him. I mean, I don't want to keep going on about it, but that bench is strong.
Yeah. But what do we think about? There seems to be a lot of... obviously, there's that kind of the Bowman situation. What do we think about this bringing in Fisher perhaps for a whole game?
I want to keep advocating that. I think Taylor's livid. Bowman had the chances.
Yeah. The real shame here, of course, in these situations is that Jose's injured, because that is surely that's the idea of having him. When one way, I know we tried it with both of them up front in a kind of 4-4-2 early on, but surely it's got to be when Bowman doesn't work, you've got a different option in a Jose, and you can bring him on. But now, obviously he's out. We don't know, he's having an operation, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
So we don't know how bad it is, but what we can do is bring in Alex Fisher, but it's a bit more of a straight swap, isn't it? He's another kind of big hold-up player.
Although, having said that, of course, Bowman had the chances, so it's not like the system wasn't working.
Well, that's true.
The player was...
Yeah, so maybe maybe it is an option. And I don't know, maybe Taylor might be reluctant to... I think he's a big fan of Bowman, isn't he? And he's really stuck with him. Yeah. And maybe he doesn't want to, knock his sort of confidence by...
Maybe he'll get the hour.
Pulling him out of the team.
Maybe he'll tell him, you got the hour on Saturday to do something, and then Fisher for the get it all. I think that works quite well with players. If they say you'll have an hour and then I'm going to make the change, so it bears no relation to their performance,
right? Yeah,
and they'll know that kind of thing.
Because I think he's looked good when he's come on, hasn't he, Alex Fisher? When he's
he has.
I know he hasn't scored, but he's come very close a couple of times.
Yeah,
and he had a bit of a penalty shout. No, it wasn't him. It was Lee Martin had a bit of a penalty shout on Saturday, didn't he? But not given, and I don't think it was.
Well, it definitely wasn't like the Richardson one the week before, was it?
It wasn't, and they also had one turned down for what they were appealing for was a handball, which looked, harsh. It would have been harsh if you asked me. On Tom Parks, I think he just sort of turned a bit and it hits him on the shoulder.
Absolutely, yeah.
I know that there's this new handball rule, but it's being
Well, no one seems to be quite sure.
Yeah, well, it's being implemented for strikers. So if it hits a striker anywhere on the arm, it seems they're going to be like, no, it's no goal. On the way to the goal, they're going to be like, no.
Okay.
However, if it hits a defender, they're going to be a lot more lenient because otherwise you just get, you get close enough. It's pretty easy to sort of kick it against the defender's arm, isn't it?
Indeed.
So.
Okay, well, that's interesting to know. But all in all, I mean, you're absolutely right. If we'd said in advance a draw away from home against Crewe, we'd consider that a good result.
Yes.
Back to not losing ways.
Yeah, if it was like that sort of management game you used to play in the Post. Do you remember this?
No.
You never did that?
No.
It was kind of a bit like fantasy football, but you did it through the mail.
Wow.
I had a little go at it once. It didn't last long.
What, so you pick players?
They send you this kind of like whole pack, and then you pick the players, and then you send it back, and then they post you the kind of result.
Oh.
And then you can like do like postal transfers.
It sounds like
but all I'm saying
kind of
is,
adrenaline-fueled ride I would have liked.
What I'm saying is, you don't get... All you get is a result.
Okay.
It's literally on paper.
What?
We've got the context of the game, which was we should have done better.
Got your point.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
Bit tenuous. But
No, I liked it.
Ridiculous thing, especially when like kind of like football management sort of computer games already existed. Anyway.
It doesn't last. Presumably it doesn't exist anymore.
I'd be very surprised.
Maybe some like hipsters are playing it in like... Where does your brother live? Hackney.
Yeah. Maybe.
Well, let us know, Hackney listeners.
Patrick and Ollie are setting up their own one as we speak.
They are. They're hipster friends of ours, so...
Good lads.
Good lads liked things to be old-fashioned. So this weekend, this Saturday, we have Forest Green Rovers, FGR, at home.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
Top of the league.
top of the league. Obviously, they got the old reputation. They were kind of the joke team, weren't they, for a while? Bright green kit, sponsored by that guy who's suing somebody for Brexit. Vegans, tiny little town, etc., etc. Oh, that reminds me. Did you see at Crewe? I know these things kind of wash over us as League Two supporters, but there was a particularly spectacular sponsorship board in Crewe. Did you see this?
No.
They were this board was sponsored by, no word of a lie, these words: ice cream vans. That's what it said. Just
Brilliant.
ice cream vans.
I love it.
So there was another. It's almost like so generic, like like some computer game. Like, here's the sponsorship for electronics. Here's the sponsorship for a local scaffolding firm.
Ice cream vans.
Ice cream vans.
Yeah, great, cool.
I don't know if they make ice cream vans in Crewe. Anyway,
Ice cream vans are one of the kind of... Like, how do they still exist?
how are they making
Even
money?
though
You mean?
there's been nothing sort of... There's nothing kind of internet-based or modern day that can come along and kind of, like, render it obsolete. It's just as relevant and kind of, like, as it used to be, apart from the fact that, there's probably... No, I think even more so.
No,
because people used to have corner shops close to their houses. Now they don't. You have to go into sort of town to a nearby kind of small-scale supermarket or to a big one. And maybe your mum buys a multi-pack of...
Chalk ices.
Yeah, chalk ices or like your fruit pastel lollies or something. But I don't see any reason why the ice cream van business shouldn't be thriving in 2019.
I'm going to pose a theory for you.
Go for it.
Savile.
Savile?
Parents are afraid of letting their kids out to ice cream vans.
Yeah, maybe. There's definitely a bit more of that going on now. People are scared of their kids getting abducted more than they used to be. Even though probably statistically, it's probably not happening any more than it used to be.
No, I'm sure it's not.
Probably happening less.
Here's the thing that everyone used to be afraid of: running out from behind ice cream vans. That was a real thing, wasn't it? Don't run out from behind an ice cream van.
Well, I've heard about buses, and it's
No, it was always ice cream vans, wasn't it? You got your
don't run out behind a bus because you can't see what's coming.
Same deal with an ice cream van, and you'll be like hopped up on like sugar and flakes and.
I don't think it's much to do with that. I think it's just that you can't see what's coming.
You're like, hey, what a time I'm having with this flake, and then
leg it out into the road.
Before you know it, you've been knocked down by a mobility scooter.
Right. Yeah,
it's a concern.
Know. Well, the thing is, ice cream vans do still exist.
They do.
I'm still hearing them go past every now and then.
Well, we know why. because of their excellent sponsorship planning and marketing scheme.
Well, in the Crewe area.
In the Crewe area,
we've not
they're
got any
laughing.
around here, have we?
No, there was one on the street a couple of weeks ago, round our way.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember hearing one, from my house in the last kind of couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It's kind of the very final sort of throes of summer, though, isn't it?
The ice cream van on its last.
So yeah, like now it's going to be like, I think that's when they really start hitting the kind of suburbs.
These people haven't seen an ice cream van all summer. They'll be
In
desperate.
the height of summer, you can sort of just like
We just park up near a
park
beach.
up near a beach or
Yeah.
by a big park or something, and then you're just like, your job's done for you. But then when he starts getting, towards this October sort of time, you're like just about to stick it in the garage and declare it off the road.
Do you think they go into something else? Do you think they've got a separate van where they sell like roasted chestnuts from? I realise that's a 19th century something, hot dogs.
Not that, but I do imagine they probably do have a winter job. Yeah.
Do you think it's the guys that turn out at late night shopping in town who sell like weird illuminated crap?
Yeah, maybe. But during the summer they're
Ice cream men.
Possibly.
You don't see many ice cream women.
Do you not?
Do you not?
You've got kids, so I haven't been to an ice cream van since for a long time.
It's usually bored male teenagers, I find, running ice cream vans.
Right. Maybe there's something about that kind of work that appeals to.
I suppose they give the women the
Blokes.
bicycles because there's a bicycle ice cream woman on the Cathedral Green.
Well, there's also a new bicycle ice cream man in the sort of little square by Pret on the high street.
Is there?
Has that not got a name, that little square? I feel like it should have.
It's Castle something, is it?
Is it? Crep. Where the Crep man resides.
He's not that bad.
Shit.
That's the oldest joke in town. Want to
yeah.
get a crepe later? Want to have a crepe on the street? Probably go home.
That little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever it's called.
Yeah, Pret a Manger.
Pret Square.
Pret Square.
Yeah.
I don't know. If anyone knows the name of that street, let us know. Otherwise, we'll rename it Pierce Sweeney Avenue.
Yeah. Definitely.
So Forest Green are coming.
Yes. They wouldn't be having any ice creams.
No, well, you can get vegan ice creams, of course. They'll
Right,
have a
okay.
fruit pastel lolly,
Right.
which is allowed. Maybe your mum will bring them a box down. Top of the
My
league.
mum?
I don't know. She seems to be the one with the fruit pastel lollies.
No. Mars bar ice creams. My parents got really into getting them.
Wow.
Until we all got really sick of them, and I was like, never wanted to see one again.
I'd
Do you know how it
happily see
was?
one.
Your parents go like, "Ooh, yeah, they love these," and then keep buying them, and you're like, "Oh no, I hate them."
Yeah, it was like that in our house with Tab Clear. Remember that?
Well, that wasn't even around long enough to get to.
Oh, it was.
Was it?
Somehow my parents thought it was healthier because you could see through it. So we used to get bottles and bottles of Tab Clear in. My dad would buy it like in a 4-pack of 2-litre bottle.
Wow.
I know.
Anyway, let's move on. Forest Green.
Forest Green at home, top of the league, high flyers. They haven't been beaten since the 31st of August.
Yeah, I still don't think they're that good.
They've scored 7 goals in the last 2 games.
I still don't think they're that good.
Well, here's what's weird about them. Their top scorer, 5 goals, Mills, he's a defender. All their other players have only got 1, maybe 2.
Right. Okay. So are they scoring a lot from set pieces? We're quite good at defending set pieces, are we not?
We are good at defending set pieces because of Tom Park's enormous head. He has got an enormous head.
Okay.
Bigger than Bowman's. Not as long. It's not a whole Subway sandwich long. But
Okay.
I think it's more like a whole Viennetta wide.
Okay. Right. Big Ed.
Big Ed.
Yeah. So they've been. So let's presume they've been scoring a lot from set pieces. Like when Steve Bruce was the Premier League's top goal scorer in about 1993 or whatever it was.
He couldn't stop heading them in from the corners. Yeah, so it's that kind of thing. So they've not got some like striker we got to fear. Of course, Doy just moved on. I don't even know where he went actually after that debacle last year.
No, don't know actually.
Oh, Scotland. I think he went to Scotland.
Was it? Where's Lloyd James? Is he still
Not
there?
playing. He is still there. He hasn't played at all this season. Hasn't
Okay.
started
I
since
just
May.
noticed. I'm just looking at the lineup for their last game.
I think the last game he played was against us.
Oh,
I haven't
right.
got, I haven't got statistics for that. I don't think he played in the playoffs.
Okay.
So he hasn't played at all this year. He's not injured. He's just not starting. Which I thought was weird because I thought he was, well, who knows? They're obviously top of the league without him, but he was good for them when we played him, both times. So James, yeah, nothing. So they've got no big names, but they're obviously making it work. Mark Cooper's still there, doing the do. Been there a long time now, hasn't he?
He has, yeah.
I mean, obviously that guy's a genius, isn't he? Dale, what's his name? The owner?
Dale Winton.
Dale Winton's their owner.
Yeah.
That guy, I can't remember his name now. You know what I mean? The guy that ose Ecotricity that also owns them.
Yeah, fake tan.
Fake tan,
sort of
big old...
Loved sort of supermarkets.
I got a story about Dale Winton.
Yeah.
Someone was working in a hotel, a friend of mine, and Dale Winton was staying. They knocked on the door, and Dale said, "Oh, I haven't got any trousers on. Is that okay?" So they went in, opened the door, and he was ironing them. That's the end of the story. But their owner, Dale, the
Right.
Forest Green owner,
Yeah.
he's got a real plan for this team. And
Okay.
when they came up from the conference, he was like, "Oh, well, we plan to be in the championship within a certain number of years." And everyone was like, yeah. But obviously they've been really consistent. They've been in and around the playoffs since they came up. They've never been a walkover. There have been moments, haven't there, where they've kind of dipped off in form and they've recovered it. So he's stuck with the manager.
Yeah.
I thought that was quite a bold thing to pull up Paul Doidge back from Bolton.
They're one of those sort of teams, aren't they, where they seem to be like progressing slowly, which I guess is probably what he wants. Like they are making sort of steady progress. They've gone from being a kind of when they came up to being the kind of a mid-table team, bit of a kind of joke to begin with. And people start taking them a bit more seriously. Like last season, did they just miss out on that? No, they were in the playoffs. They were in the playoffs, weren't they?
Yeah.
So, and you got to admire it. I like that kind of like the patience. But to stick with the manager and to slowly sort of work and build your team and I'm sure they'll get there. And maybe this will be their season as well. But I still don't think they're that. I don't think they're, I still think we can beat them.
Have you seen this stuff? So people keep pointing out, and the Echo have pointed this out as well, and we talked about this earlier in the season, but every team we play, the response before and after is they're the best team we've seen. They're saying that about City.
Okay.
And I think that's probably right. I haven't seen anything yet that has been better than us. I don't think we've been brilliant by any stretch.
I think, so far I think there's nothing to suggest that we can't continue this standard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, if anything, we're just missing kind of things like, I can't quite score enough goals. I think we're not showing any signs that it's like, ooh, we're kind of hanging on in there, and at any minute now we're going to it's all going to come crashing down. I think we're, but by the way it's been set up, and like you can see from last season and the kind of like additions to the squad and the kind of slight changes in how we're playing, that we are where we should be. And whether that's like, it's pretty choppy, isn't it, League Two? So whether we're still in the top three at the end of the season, I don't mean that. I just mean we'll be in the contention for those around automatics or playoffs. I think we've got, obviously there's a few big teams, especially the ones that came down last season, that haven't done much yet, but you'd expect that they probably will put it together at some point.
Yeah.
Argyle, etc.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Scunthorpe are just kaput. I mean, they've...
Yeah, maybe. But Bradford are looking better,
absolutely.
aren't they?
Swindon, of course.
Yeah.
Argyle, they're big clubs. And then, there's that kind of other ones in and around, aren't there, that actually...
Colchester looking quite good. There's it's the same as it is every year.
Yeah.
In terms of all the other teams, they've got they might have different names, and the results might be going a slightly different way, but ultimately it's just a pretty standard League Two season. Yeah, we've just got to hope that what we've built so far across the last few years, and especially in the last 2 years under Matt Taylor, is enough to put us up there at the end of the season. And the only thing I can see standing in the way is not putting the chances away, not putting games to bed. It's not a new thing, is it? It is a pattern.
Indeed so. So, to look at the league, so Forest Green sit top, won 7, drawn 3, lost 2. Then us and Newport are exactly the same in second and third, won 6, drawn 5, lost 1. I mean, obviously, a couple of those draws, that's where the disappointment's been, exactly like you said. Not put the chances away, turn them into wins. Then Crewe on the same points as well, with a slightly different configuration of results. Cheltenham 1 point behind that in 5th on 22. Then Bradford 21 points in 6th. Swindon 20 points in 7th. Then it kind of drops away a point at a time. Colchester, Grimsby, Port Vale. Those teams, we, aside from Grimsby, who obviously thumped us, we have have got every chance against. I think the Argyle game is going to be really key, actually. I just think for how we feel about it.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
That's 2 weeks away now. It is
Yeah.
fast approaching. So that's going to be really interesting. And then it kind of drops off. Mansfield are the kind of surprise so far, sitting in 19th, lost 5 games. I mean, they're always usually up and around, aren't they?
Yeah.
And then Stevenage sit bottom, still to win. Diabolical.
Yeah, that's bad there, isn't it? I mean, yeah, teams like Mansfield and Argyle, like I said, you expect them to at some point turn it round.
Yeah.
You know, you remember a couple of years ago, you know, the first season we got back in the playoffs. What was that, 3 years ago, 4 years ago?
Yeah.
We were sort of bottom of the league at Christmas.
I know.
So
very awful lot to play for.
exactly. What I'm saying is I just haven't seen any. I don't think we've seen any obvious signs that we're really chancing it here, and that we're sort of punching above our weight.
No, I'd agree with you. I think everything I've seen suggests if we don't do anything demented, we'll be in and around. Did you hear Matt Taylor's interview on the Totally Football League show podcast?
I did, yes.
I thought it was quite interesting. I thought, Sam Parkin's on there, former City alumni, and he's obviously got a lot of time for Tisdale, not incorrectly. The players all seem to love him. They were kind of pushing Taylor, weren't they, on what did you change, how was it different, how was it weird? And I thought he was being diplomatic. I don't know, I read something into it that sounded like diplomatic, but actually we've just had to change things slowly, but we did need to change them. I thought it was quite interesting.
Yeah, he did say that, didn't he, that when he came in he wanted to change anything too much to begin with, implying that I am going to change these things, but I'm just not going to do it straight away.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think we can, what he has been, I mean, who knows? A lot of those things I think are sort of like approach, a kind of, an attitude kind of things. And I think you do see that sometimes in Taylor's sort of post-match interviews. If things go well, or if things don't go so well, but he feels like we did the right thing about it and luck didn't go with us, he'll react in that kind of way. You see a week ago on Saturday, when we were essentially denied by, not really, but I don't know, where we...
The ref was bad.
Yeah, the ref was bad, and he sort of like wasn't too hard on the players, whereas this week...
Yeah,
he was livid.
Yeah,
because we didn't put the chances away. Now that's completely something that we carried out the plan properly or whatever, and we couldn't score the goals.
And do you know what? That was quite different, Tisdale, because
Tisdale said the same thing every single game, didn't he?
He did, and even when it was very clear to everyone it hadn't been good enough, he would plough on with that, and that really frustrated everyone.
Well, MK Dons are getting absolutely sick of him, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
They've been terrible.
Yeah, they really are, and I just think. Well, we badmouthed him plenty on this podcast, but it is interesting that that's kind of what I took from Taylor's interview. And also what I thought was really interesting was they kind of said, well, what's the club about? And he said it's youth development. That's the kind of heart of what the club wants to do. Now, I think that's true. I think everyone recognises sustainability kind of relies upon young players coming through because we can't afford older players, and also then selling those players, bringing money in. But he was acknowledging, as we all do, that that's kind of not enough. You can't just be a nursery for these brilliant players who then go on. You've got to, enjoy them for a while. And I thought that was really disappointing when Jordan's story went, that we never had the chance to enjoy him as a player.
Well, yeah, especially when they're getting kind of picked off before you can even get any money for them.
Exactly.
Which I know wasn't the case with him, but...
but it was 12 games or something, wasn't it? So we got to be able to have the chance to enjoy them for a while. And then secondly... there's kind of no point having good players if the team doesn't win some of their games and doesn't push for stuff.
Yeah.
And I think Taylor feels like a really good person to have in that gap between. He's essentially managing the expectations of the hierarchy and of the supporters in those two things, isn't he? And I thought, he really gets this, actually.
Yeah. Well, it seems like a very pragmatic approach, doesn't it? And it's like something that's like a very easily identifiable problem, and go like, well, this is what I've got to do then, and he does seem to be managing it, doesn't he? Obviously, he signed a lot of players.
Yeah.
But it's not just signing players in the sort of way where you look at kind of like people like who are criticised from it in football, like Jose Mourinho, who historically at Chelsea and etc. would never use youth players at all, and would always buy in players, often with a quite short-sighted plan.
Yeah.
Not necessarily always in a bad way, because he did win things, but like, so you'd buy out these older experienced players and they'd win you something that season.
Yeah.
Whereas we've got to do a bit of both, and that's exactly what he has done. You know, like, so he brought in players like Bowman and these other kind of journeyman players, Tom Parks, who are a bit older, a bit more experienced, but then also properly getting our young players into the team.
Yeah,
Like
Sparks
people
and
Jack
Collins
Sparks,
have been very
that's-
regular.
Yeah, well, Sparks now has, but that's been a long time coming. He started playing when Tisdale was there, and then Taylor took over and it's gone like, no, you're not ready. You've got to go back out on loan. You've got to drop back down again and really work at it. And when you are ready, I'll put you in. And it looks like, okay, maybe he is, you know?
Yeah.
He had a really good chance on Saturday. That ball was swerving all over the
Didn't
place.
it just?
Gascalainen managed to stick out a hand. It looked like he was already going the other way.
Yeah.
And the ball kind of like, woo.
I
like,
know, that was nuts. I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens January and next summer. And I think it feels like good vibes around the place. So probably, you know, if we're still up and about there, January shouldn't be too much of a problem. Because I don't think a championship club's coming in for any of our players. Hopefully we'll stick them till summer. And then if we're in League One by then, I think we might get a good few more months out of
We'll
them.
see. I mean, the only one I can think perhaps is if someone's looking for a player exactly like Randell Williams.
Yes.
Then you might look at his stats. I know there's no goals in that, but he's like top of the assist table, I think, or maybe was before Saturday. I'm not sure if he still is now. Again, like I said, really up there with like creating chances created, and not just in League Two, in the whole country.
Yes,
he's up there.
nuts.
And very exciting. If you see, if you're just going to watch clips, you'll see like kind of an exciting player there. And so he's the one which I think possibly
Maybe.
And I think anyone above League One, you'd be making a mistake to sign him, because I don't think he's quite at the level yet. But I think does have a lot of potential.
Yeah, I think he's improving quite quickly, isn't he?
But then you look at kind of like but it does happen, doesn't it? You know, teams like think, oh, we need that kind of player. Look at Preston.
Yeah.
With Stockley, Preston absolutely
Flying, aren't they?
flying.
Yeah.
He can't even get on the bench now.
I know. Interesting. Anyway, we shall see. But I thought if you haven't heard it, listeners, you can. It's the Totally Football League show, which is a podcast that really ebbs and flows between mentioning City a lot and not mentioning them at all. So
yeah, I mean they've got a lot of
I realise
teams
they've got
to
a lot of
cover,
clubs
haven't
to
they?
yeah, but
and they get a lot of. They have had airtime. It is mainly Sam Parkin talking about how great Paul Tisdale is.
yes,
But fair enough. He's his mate, and he is, has been great. But
oldies together. Anyway, you can listen to that there if you want to. Thanks for listening to us, though. The real deal, the authentic thing.
yeah, well,
You cut us, we bleed
them
red and white.
You don't need them to talk about City when you've got us
Sometimes
sort of
talking about City.
blabbering crap about City and other things.
That's going to be definitely the title for the episode. Thanks for listening. This has been the Big Bang Theory podcast. Don't forget, you can get in touch with us on email, bigbangpod@gmail.com, via Twitter @BigBankPod, and on Facebook with the Big Bang Theory podcast. You've been beautiful. We've been wonderful. My name's John. I've been here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Nigel Attengana.
See you soon.